CTF. Most of you who are watching this video might already know what a CTF is. For those of you who don't, CTF or Capture the Flag is a kind of information security competition that challenges contestants to solve a variety of tasks ranging from a scavenger hunt on Wikipedia to basic programming exercises to hacking your way into a server to steal data. In these challenges, the contestant is usually asked to find a specific piece of text that may be hidden on the server or behind a web page. This goal is called the flag, hence the name. Like many competitions, the skill level of CTFs varies between the events. Some are targeted towards professionals with experience operating on cybersecurity teams. These will offer a large cash reward and can be held at a specific physical location. CTF challenges are typically divided into these 5 categories: cryptography, steganography, binary reversing, web exploitation, and pawn. Let's go through them one by one. Cryptography involves decrypting or encrypting a piece of data. Steganography tasked with finding information hidden in files or images. Binary reverse engineering or exploiting a binary file to make it reveal the said flag. Then there is web, where you will exploit web pages to find the flag. And finally, there is a pawn category, which means exploiting a server to find the flag. Since now you know what a CTF is, you can simply search for upcoming CTFs. And if you find something interesting, you could actually play it. I usually go to ctftime.org because it tells me a lot of collective information about which CTFs are coming, what are their weights, how many teams are participating. You don't necessarily have to go to ctftime.org. It's just a website that I prefer. If you try a CTF and you don't know how to solve the challenge, you should definitely read the write-ups once the challenges are finished. On ctftime.org, you can simply go to the write-ups page under the archive drop-down, and you could find all the write-ups which different teams have put upon as soon as the challenge is finished. So even though you do not know how to solve a challenge, it would really help you to learn something new by reading the write-ups. In fact, I would say I have read more write-ups than I have given the challenges. I usually give these challenges with my CTF team. It's called the White Circle. And you can find all our write-ups on our GitHub page. We also have a Discord group, which I definitely recommend you to check out. You can find the link to the Discord on the White Hat's Twitter page. We discuss a lot of cool things there and what's happening in the tech community. Almost all the members of my team are way smarter than I am. They solve most of the challenges. And we try to keep the write-ups event-wise. So you can click on an event and you can check out the write-ups of that specific event for the specific category. Although you can see 4 events here which we have participated in, we also gave the Tenable CTF, which took part in Feb 2021. We didn't had the bandwidth, or we didn't organize enough to put all the CTF write-ups from Tenable CTF there, but it was a really fun CTF and was actually my first CTF with the team. The Tenable CTF have multiple categories. In the web category, there was a group of challenges which were around the Spring MVC framework. There were 7 such challenges and I was able to find 5 of those. I would try to cover them in this video. So I'll try to go through the Spring MVC challenges and I would walk you through my thought process which I applied in order to find the flags. At this point, I am assuming that you know the basics of programming language and you know how HTTP GET and POST work. I would try to be as descriptive as possible, but it is essential that you know the basics. So, without further ado, let's begin. The way Spring MVC set of challenges worked was you get a copy of the code, which I had downloaded. You run it locally. You look at the code, try to find the flags on your local machine, and from the way you solved it, you could apply the same thing on the server, and then you can get the actual flag. Meaning, you have dummy flags in your source code, you go through the code, find the flag, and then use that knowledge in order to get the actual flag from the Tenable servers. This is good because now, even though the Tenable servers are not working, which we could check here. Yeah. So this was the official URL. And if we go here, and we could actually see that this is not working. Even though these are not working, we can actually go to our local directory and play the same CTF again. From looking at the source code, we could clearly see that this is a Spring MVC application. The goal is for us to analyze the code and construct HTTP requests so that we could get the flags. A Spring MVC application is a Java-based application that uses these three main components: model, view, and controller. Hence the name MVC. The Spring Web MVC framework provides model view controller architecture and ready components that can be used to develop flexible and loosely coupled web applications. The MVC pattern results in separating the different aspects of the application. So input logic or business logic and the UI logic are all separated, while providing a loose coupling between these elements. The M in the MVC or the model encapsulates the application data, and in general they will consist of plain old Java objects. The view is responsible for rendering the model data and in general generates the HTML output that the client's browser can interpret. The controller is responsible for processing user requests and building an appropriate model and passes it to the view. As soon as you send a request from your browser, it goes to the controller. The controller checks for the business logic of the application, checks the data in the model or the data that you have provided, and renders a view back to the browser. That way you have all three components working together to give you a complete application. We will try to find out vulnerabilities in this Spring MVC application and get the flags. You can open this source code in any IDE. You can use any editor, Visual Studio Code or Eclipse IDE. I just prefer IntelliJ to open this code because it just makes it a bit easier for me. Let me close everything so that we start from scratch. You can, in order to open a new Spring MVC app, you simply go to Open and you choose the pom.xml. In our sources, we could find this pom.xml in the root directory. Once you open this pom.xml, the entire project would be open as shown here. So let's go through the project sequentially. We see there's a target. We see there are external libraries. We see our pom.xml that contains all the dependencies. And we have a README here. Now the README suggests that if we run this jar using these commands, our Spring MVC application would be deployed. So let me copy this. Very important to note that you must have Java installed and then the correct appropriate environment variable set so that you could use Java from anywhere using a terminal. What does this mean? Let me open my terminal. If I do a Java --version, you can see that I have OpenJDK 14.0.2 installed and it's using a 64-bit server VM. So I will go to my application, open in terminal, and paste the command. As I know that I have this snapshot.jar here, the application is starting, and we could see that it runs on port 8080 with Apache Tomcat. So I will open this localhost 8080, and I can see that the Tenable CTF Spring MVC application is successfully deployed, and now I can access it from my localhost. Let me put this aside. Let's go through the source code now. Now, usually we know that the code is present in the src folder. Obviously, these are the tests, so we are going to ignore it. We're going to go to the main. We have two directories, Java and resources. We see the template folder, which has all the templates, which are the views. So these are the HTML files which we see being rendered once the application runs properly and we request for appropriate pages. We see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Java files here. Let's start investigating. Since we just got to know the controller is responsible for processing the user request and building the appropriate model, let's go to the main controller. We could clearly see that we have the root directory, then we have /main, again /main with some other parameters, and a lot of such stuff. But you could see if we go to the first /main without any parameters, as you can see there are no request parameters, it tells us the first flag. What are request parameters we'll discuss later, but for now this would be an easy flag for us to get. So let's quickly go to localhost /main, and we simply get the first flag, which is like an easy win for us. Let me note this down. So we just got our first flag. Now I could clearly see Spring MVC 3 and Spring MVC 2 here. This is also going to the main directory, but it tells us that it requires certain parameters. In Spring MVC frameworks, the request parameters is used to read HTML form data provided by a user and bind it to the request parameter. Meaning, if I provide this magic word as data to the /main directory while requesting it, I would get a flag. If this magic word is equal to please, I will get the Spring MVC 3 flag. Otherwise, I would get Spring MVC 2 flag. So let's try that. Also, it's important to note that this is actually a post request as opposed to the GET request. Meaning, if we try this, it won't work because we are doing an HTTP GET. If you don't know what GET or POST is, these are different HTTP methods and require a video of their own, which maybe I'll make it in the future. For now, let's concentrate on the CTF. Usually security researchers use burp suite or some other tool in order to do GET and POST. I really like using the browser itself. So in Firefox, I could simply go to inspect element, go to the network, I'll do a reload, and from here I could literally edit the method to post, and I will do a post and send it, and I could see the response flag 2. Let me switch it to raw so that's easier, and we finally get the flag 2. Alright, going back to the magic word, if the value of magic word equals please, then we'll get the third flag. We can simply try that. We can put the magic, we can put the magic word to be please. Let's edit and resend, and here we'll put magic word equal to please and send, and we could see the response. We have the flag 3. By far it seems pretty easy. Let's go for the next one. So this is the Spring MVC 4 flag, and it tells us that it consumes application JSON. As you can see here, the post mapping method doesn't have any specific parameter. However, here we have application JSON, meaning when you will send a request, it would look if that content type is either application or JSON. If we go back to our browser request, we could see in the headers that our content type was text HTML. Let's try to do the same thing. Now we would try to access main, but here the content type would be application JSON. So let's again edit and resend. Here you see a lot of headers. Let me add a header. It's called content type, and I will add here application JSON. Alright, let's hit send. I get 200 response, and the response has the 4th flag. Moving on to flag number 5, we could see here that if the method is .options, then we'll get the Spring MVC 5 flag. If you don't already know, there are a bunch of HTTP methods that are used to get data from the server using HTTP. We've seen get, we've seen post, and now we need to make sure that our method is options. So going back, we would edit our request method. We will just need to go to the main, and we will change the method to options. Whoops, my bad. It should be in all caps. And we have the 5th flag now. Now for the 6th flag, as you can see, the request method needs to be get, and there should be a header value with magic word equal to please. Let's do that. We could simply use this one because it's already get, or we could use our last one. We just edit and resend. Here we're gonna put get method, and we will add a header, magic word, and write please here. And we're getting the 6th flag. So you might have noticed now how easy it is to abuse a Java Spring MVC application if it's not properly configured. That's why it is very essential that we put proper checks during our testing and make sure there are no security holes that lead malicious attackers to hack your website. These were the main 6 flags from the controller part of the application. I believe there were 2 more flags that were hidden. So let's try to find out. Let's go to .hello.html. Yes, so we have 1 hidden flag and 1 secret flag. So here we see that the hidden flag would be displayed if we provided a parameter name whose value is please. We could simply go on edit. For main, we could go to the root directory and we could add a parameter with name equal to please and send. And if you see the raw request, we could find the hidden flag. Which would be our 7th flag. All these 7 flags were relatively easy. 8th flag was a bit tricky. We couldn't find it till the CTF was over, but once it was over, we were able to find it. Looking at the code, I could clearly see that there is a session flag, which is checking the attribute. If the real name equal to admin, then we should get the flag. If we check the other controller, it is setting an attribute as real name, however, with no value. The only parameter that we could provide is name. While doing the CTF, I actually thought by putting the attribute in the cookies would actually help me to get the flag. However, that was not the case. If I go to /other and I see nothing, but if I put the parameter name equal to admin, but now if I go to the root, I finally have the session flag. Let's go back through how it worked. As soon as we put a request parameter by the value name, its default value is user. However, if I put the value to be admin, it would set the attribute real name as admin. Then when I go back to the root, this .hello.html would check for the real name attribute, would get the value set as admin since we set the name equal to admin and the session was set, meaning this condition would be true and we will finally get the session flag. I hope this video was useful for you to understand how CTFs work, also how you can use Firefox directly to make requests using GET, POST and all other HTTP methods. If you have any questions, please give me a shout out at my Twitter, which is Elastic. Also, if you want to see more such write-ups, you can either visit my channel or simply go to the White Circle GitHub page and you can see all the write-ups. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got to learn something new from this. I'll see you guys later in the next video.